remind you what are the things we have already discussed before. So we learned what is a control and there are some properties associated with the controls, etc. Okay, so let's move to next topic, form and properties. Form. Then what do you mean by form? Form is a user interface. Form is a user interface. It is designed for some specific operation. Specific operation means to input, to display an output, to input a data, or to give some instructions, or to perform any actions. So once again, first, what is a form? What is form? What is form? So here, this is the form, and this form is a user interface. The form is a user interface. User interface. And this interface is created for some purpose. Then, what are the purpose of form? What are the purpose of creating forms? Yes, so first, what is form? Form is a user interface and which is created by the user. User means the developer, and then the purpose of creating a form is to input a data. First one, input a data. Then second, to display an output. Second one, to display output. Then third one, to give some instructions. Give some instructions. Then fourth one, next to perform any operations or to perform any actions. Perform actions. So here actions means like saving a button, like something like that. Actions, pressing a key, clicking, double clicking, etc. These are the actions. And then once again, what is a form? This is look like a form. What are the purposes of form? Form is a user interface which is created by the programmer, and it is used for the purposes like to input a data, to display an output, and giving some instructions, perform any actions using controls. So using controls we can perform actions. And this is similar to a form, or this is the way a form look like, right? Okay. So look at the text, page number 78. As you know that a form is a user interface designed for some specific purposes, like to display or input data, or to give instructions, or to perform action using controls. Next, form properties. Next, form properties. In our last class, we have discussed some properties related to controls. Name, back color, visible, So that means this is a user interface which we can add controls and setting the properties. Right? Okay. Then the first property is name. What is the first property? Name. Name is the first property. Yes. In our previous class we have discussed there is a property for a control, name. Then what is its use? Name is the term or which is used for the control. It defines a name for a control. Similar to that, here name is the property which defines a name for that particular shape. Defines a name for the shape. So here it defines the name for the shape by which it will be referred by the code you write. Okay. So in this form, in this form we can add some controls, and also this is the part where writing code, writing program. So this is the place where we can write the programs and the output of the output will be displayed, or the interface is that screen is this form. So here first property is name. It defines the name for the shape and which will be referred by the code you write. Right? Okay. So first one, name. Name defines the name for a shape. Next is back color. Back color is background color. Back color is background color. Background color. Yes. Back color is background color. We know this is our form, and we can set any type of color to this form. We can set any type of color to this form. So using the property back color, we can set a background color using which property? Back color. Right? So if you want to give any color to this form, you can go to the property named back color and assign a color to it. Okay? So first property name, we can put a name for this shape, and then second property is back color. We can assign some colors to this form. Third one is text. Third one is text. Yes, text. Yes. So here this is a form, and there is a title bar. There is a title bar. We know title bar is always situated at the top of that form. So here text is, it defines the text which is displayed on the top of the form. Displays the text on the title bar. Displays text on where? Title bar. So if you write any name in this text, it will display on this title bar. That is the third property. To identify the form, we can assign some names to this text. So first property is name. Name defines a name for a shape, and then second one is back color, which defines we can set a color to this form. Third one is text. We can write any name for this form, and which will be displayed on the top of this page on the title bar. Right? Then fourth one is font. What is the under the font section, right? Then font means if you type any text in this form, you can change the color of the text, change the size of the text and the type of the text, right? So here if you want to change any type, size, color, you can go to which property? Font property, right? Name, back color, background color, that means back color, and then text. Next one is font. Font means it is the design of characters, and you can set any properties like font type, font face, font size, font color, etc. Font color means you can change the color of the text you entered in this form. Then next, so here their purpose is it is set the font properties for the objects which you will create on the form. Next one is visible. So next property is what? Visible. Yes. So visible means if you want to visible this form during runtime, you can set visible is equal to true. Yes. So here visible is equal to true. Then this form will be visible during the runtime. That means user can see that form and enter the required data. Yes, if it is set as true, then it is visible during runtime. Then if visible is set to false, then what happens? We can set the visible equal to false during design time. Then the form cannot be displayed to the user during runtime. The form cannot be displayed during runtime. So that means user cannot see this form during runtime. So visibility can be decided using a property that is visible. If it is set to true, then we can show or we can display that form during runtime. Otherwise, we cannot. That means user cannot see that type of form in that screen, right? So visibility is a property that decides the visibility during runtime or not. Then next one is height and width. Sixth one. Height and width. We know what represents a height and width. We can increase the size of the form. So this is height and this is width. We can increase the height and width using the property height property and width property. We can increase the size of the height and width using two properties, height and width. And it should be written in which form? Pixel. Should be written in pixel units. Pixel. So you can adjust the height and width using the property height and width. So just click the height property and then enter the height you want to set for that form, and which is in pixel. Second one, if you want to increase the size of the or width of the form, you can go to the property width and set the value to that width in pixel. Then, so here click on the size property and enter value for height. It says the height of the form which is in pixels. Then next same as that of height, click on the size property and enter value for width. It sets the width of the form in pixels. The next is control box. So another property is control box. That means if you want to display buttons like minimize button, maximize button, close button, restore button, etc. If you do not want any buttons like this, you can set it to false. Otherwise, you can set true. So what is that property? Control box. Seventh one, control box. Control box means which sets the controls for some buttons. Then it contains two options. You can set that control box is equal to true and also false. So if control box is equal to true, control box equal to true, then what happens? You can show the buttons like minimize button, maximize button, close button, restore button. Okay, once again. So if the control box is set to true, then you can show these type of buttons like maximize button, minimize button, restore button and close button. Otherwise, that means if control box is set to false, then that means if you do not want to see these type of buttons, you can set that control box equal to false. If you do not want to display the buttons like minimize button, maximize button, then next close button, restore button, you can set control box is equal to false. Otherwise, you can set control box is equal to visible or true. Right? Okay. Then, so now once again, what are the properties we have discussed? Discussing, that is name, back color, texture, font, visible, then height and width, control box. Next one is minimize box. Minimize box means you can disable or enable minimize button by selecting the false or true value for this property. So, which is similar to the control box, and there is separate another property, minimize property and maximize property. If you want to display minimize button, then you can set minimize equal to true. Then if you do not want to show or display maximize button, you can disable it. So minimize button is equal to or minimize property is set to disables. Yes. So eighth one, minimize. So minimize means you can enable or disable minimize button. Enable or disable. Enable or disable minimize button. If this button, that means this property minimize means which defines you can enable the minimize button or you can disable the minimize button. If it is enabled, you can see the or you can that means if then you can disable the minimize button. Same as that of minimize button, the other one is maximize property or maximize box. So ninth one, maximize box. Yes. Maximize box means same as that of minimize box. You can enable or disable the maximize button to set true or false. If the maximize box is set to true, then you can enable the maximize button. If maximize box is set to false, then you can disable the maximize button. So that is the two things which is in the maximize box. Then next is 10, number 10, form border style. Form border style. Form border style means you can apply any type of styles for this form. For changing the style, there is a property form border style. So here you can change the style of the form. Okay. So here form border style means it represents the style of border to display for the form. By changing the form border style property, you can control the resizing behavior of the form. It is resizable at runtime by default. But there is a special feature in this form border style means you can resize at runtime by default. So that's the property form border style. Form border style. Then next property is background image. Background image means you can set an image as background. That means it specifies the selected picture as the background of the form. You can set a color to this form. Also, you can set a background picture for this form. That is the property background image. Number 11, background image. Then, next last property, start position. Start position means it determines the starting position or position of a form when it first appears. It determines the position of the form when it first appears. So that is the property start position. Start position. So how many properties related to form? So let me remind you. First one, name. Name defines a name for the shape and which will be referred by the code used right in this form. Then second one is back color. So back color means which defines a background color. So you can set a background color to that form. Then third one is texture. You can type some text and which will be displayed on the title bar of the form. Then fourth one, height and width. You can assign or set a particular height and width which is in pixel form to that form. You can increase the size and size, that means height and width. Then another property, that is font. You can set font properties to this form like font color, font size, font type, etc. Then sixth one is control box. Control box means you can If control box is set to true, then you can show the buttons like a maximize button, minimize button, close button and also restore button. Then if it is set to false, you cannot display this type of buttons. Then seventh one, minimize box. Minimize box means if it is true, then you can enable the minimize button. If it is false, then you can disable the minimize button. Then eighth one, maximize box. Maximize box means if it is set to true, then you can enable maximize button, otherwise disable maximize button. Then ninth one, form border style. Form border style. You can apply any type of style to this form using this property. Which is that property? Form border style. Then next one, background image. Background image. That means we know we can apply some colors, background color to this form. Also we can apply a background image to this form using the property background image. Then 11, start position. Start position means it determines the position of that form when it first appears. So these are the main properties of a form. So what is a form and what are the purposes of a form? Form means it is the user interface and it is developed by a programmer, and the purposes of form is to input a data, to output or to display a data, and also to give some instructions, then perform any actions. And there are some properties associated with form. So name, backcolor, text, height and width, font, color box, minimize box, maximize box, form border style, background image and start position. Then here look at the picture, page number 78. This is the form, and here on the top of that a main format, that is the text or title. This is the title bar, and here this is the control box. If it is enabled, you can see there is this minimize button, restore button and close button. If it disables, you cannot see these buttons during the runtime, right? Okay. Then there is an activity, name the property of the form against the explanation given. You can set its value to false if you do not want any button. Minimize, maximize, close and restore of the control box to appear. So here you can set its value to false if you do not want any button, minimize, maximize, close button or restore button or the control box to appear. So what is that property? Name the property of the form against the explanation given below. So what is that property? Can you tell me from this properties or among the properties, which is the property that which is that against the explanation, that is the property control box. If it is true, then you can show the buttons like a maximize button, minimize button, restore button and a close button. Then if it is false, you do not display or any type of buttons here. Then, so in our previous class, we have learned controls and their properties. Now we discussed form and their properties. So today's class ends here. Then we will continue later.